America loves its parks. All of us have had the benefit of experiencing a park firsthand, whether it be the neighborhood variety with swing sets and joyful children, or the awe-inspiring experience of visiting a national park or monument. So why do we have parks? Where did the idea come from, and why should we care about them? I'm going to explain the origin and benefits of parks, and to conjure up your favorite park memories by sharing stories from around the country. Yellowstone is part of the U.S. National Park System, which is managed by the National Park Service. The service currently oversees 400 places and welcomes 275 million visitors a year. Our nation's 26th president, Theodore Roosevelt, affectionately known as Teddy, is the one we really have to thank for our amazing park system. He first visited the Badlands in 1883 to hunt bison, only to find that the bison population had been wiped out by hunters and disease. After witnessing the damage done to the land and its wildlife, conservation increasingly became one of his concerns. After he became president in 1901, Roosevelt used his authority to protect wildlife and public lands by creating the U.S. Forest Service. He also enabled the 1906 American Antiquities Act, which he used to proclaim 18 national monuments, one of which, Mount Rushmore, bears his likeness. During his presidency, Theodore Roosevelt protected approximately 230 million acres of public land. According to him, we have fallen heirs to the most glorious heritage a people ever received, and each one must do his part if we wish to show that the nation is worthy of its good fortune. If not for the realization of the need for land conservation in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, we may not have the incredible parks and open spaces that define our country. U.S. counties, cities, and other jurisdictions began creating what is commonly known as an urban park in the mid-1800s. These early parks were known as the pleasure ground, and were typically large parks located on the edge of a city, following the idea of the pastoral landscape, with buildings subordinate to the overall landscape. Parks have evolved since that time. In the period between 1930 and 1965, the parks that we are familiar with, or recreational facilities, started sprouting up. Most recently, in the mid-1960s, there's a new attitude that recreation is potentially everywhere, which started the open space system. In this system, all open space has potential recreational value. This idea led to the development of open spaces like the Highline Park in New York City that created public green space on former railroad tracks. Parks are beloved to our nation. They're a place to recreate, make connections, spend quality time together, and to enjoy the great outdoors. Which brings me to my next point. When we think about parks, recreation is a natural complement. I'll list the reason why parks and recreation are essential public services as defined by the National Recreation and Park Association. The first reason is economic value. Parks improve the local tax base and increase property values. American Forests, a national conservation organization that promotes forestry, estimates that trees in cities save $400 billion in stormwater retention facility costs. Quality parks and recreation are cited as one of the top 3 reasons that businesses cite in relocation decisions in a number of studies. Parks and recreation programs also provide significant indirect revenues to local and regional economies. In addition to the economic value, parks and recreation have significant health benefits. Parks are the places that people go to get healthy and fit. Parks and recreation programs and services contribute to the health of children, youth, adults, and seniors. Lastly, parks are of great social importance to our communities. Parks and recreation services are often cited as one of the most important factors in surveys of how livable communities are. Parks provide gathering places for families and social groups, as well as for individuals of all ages and economic status, regardless of their ability to pay for access. An ongoing study by the Trust for Public Land shows that over the past decade, voter approval rates for bond measures to acquire parks and open space exceed 75%. Research by the Project on Human Development in Chicago Neighborhoods indicates that community involvement in neighborhood parks is associated with lower levels of crime and vandalism. Now, for my final point. Parks create memories. Growing up in Silver Spring, Maryland, I have so many lasting memories of playing sports, hanging out with friends, and volunteering in local parks. My experience has made me confident and gave me the courage to go on and try a variety of new things. I played youth softball throughout my childhood and went on to serve as an umpire in that same league after I graduated high school. I also volunteered with the local Best Buddies chapter to help community members with intellectual and developmental disabilities participate in a softball league. This experience sparked my interest in volunteerism, and since then, I have volunteered dozens of hours at local charitable organizations. For the 100th anniversary of Balboa Park's 1915 Panama, California exposition in San Diego, residents were asked to share their favorite memories of the park. Stories included one man's childhood memory of visiting the park's carousel, which led to his mother meeting, falling in love with, and marrying the carousel conductor. Created a park devoted to memories, aptly called Memories Park. The park features fences, a vintage truck, a hay wagon, several backdrops, and other props. The park was a gift from Together Wichita 2014, a community-wide initiative involving 22 local businesses and organizations, striving to showcase the people and the places that make Wichita special. In Arlington, Virginia, the Department of Parks and Recreation was created 71 years ago in 1944 and manages 131 parks.